Welcome to New Relic for Azure. We've got an exciting presentation for you where we'll show you all the new things going on with New Relic and how easy it is to get started with New Relic and Azure.
New Relic loves Azure, just like you love Azure. But this is no bizarre love triangle. It's just a commitment to store all your telemetry data in Azure, be in the Azure Marketplace, let you set up agents, logs, and metrics right from the portal, to make onboarding irresistibly easy. End-to-end observability with New Relic in Azure. You'll love what you see.
"2024 was a tremendous year of growth at New Relic. We added over 4,000 new customers to our platform in the last year, including some of the people that you see on the slide, bringing us over 85,000 global customers of some of the world's largest brands. Another thing that has enabled our growth in the last year is our scalable and flexible platform. The success of our customers has led to the deployment of over 5 million agents across our ecosystem, processing 3.3 hexabytes of data with over 400 million queries in our platform daily. But let's talk about what's next for New Relic and intelligent observability, harnessing the power of AI. But before we go there, let's recap how we got here. So in 2008, New Relic invented cloud APM, application performance monitoring, during the rise of SaaS and mobile. And then APM provided real-time in-depth visibility into applications, providing context and previously known insight without having to understand the business logic of each application or service. And that was the first era of observability. And over the next decade, as the cloud compute era was birthed by Microsoft Azure, AWS, GCP, Oracle, a wave of digital transformation occurred where microservices were the new normal and software footprints expanded where virtual infrastructure was tied together by multiple clouds. Our users have multiple monitoring tools started popping up in the market. There was too many tools to think about providing siloed experiences and not giving you a bird's eye view of how your application was working from end to end. So observability evolved, and we invested to consolidate into a single platform, providing our users with over 50 unique capabilities in a single economic model. But now we're entering another era of observability, and this is an intelligent era where we're ensuring uptime and reliability as a key enabler for business growth. Observability needs to evolve from static monitoring to dynamically unlocking the full value of our growing data. And it must take advantage of AI to evolve from manual processes to automated operations. And so what does intelligent mean in observability? And that's where the platform does the work for you. We gather disparate data and put it together in an opinionated way to help you diagnose issues and gain insight. We become your trusted advisor through intelligent observability, helping you get to conclusions faster. And to achieve this, there are 3 components of intelligence that we're focusing on. Okay, so I moved into New Relic to our incident page, and let's say I was an engineer where I have a system that is reporting errors. Normally you'd be paged and you'd come into this page where New Relic is going to automatically correlate those alerts for you. So you can see in this incident, I had 2 alerts, but this could be 10 or 40 in a real production environment. And you'd have to review each of these individual alerts, review the query, look at your charts. You may look at the tags, and you're basically trying to understand what's happening, what part of the environment's being impacted, which team do you need to work with to get it resolved. And you have to do this for each individual alert. That just amounts to time. With our brand new response intelligence, now on an issue, you're going to be provided an AI summary that's powered by New Relic AI. So in easy to read natural language, it's going to tell you what's been impacted in your environment, call out if it's a critical issue, or if your users are being impacted, It's going to let you know if this has happened previously through RAG, where now you can add your postmortems or your runbooks into New Relic, and it'll let you know that, hey, this happened a while back. So in this situation, it's a repeat incident that you want to get resolved as quickly as possible to stop this from impacting users in the future. And then it also now makes a recommendation, right? So for this issue, it's recommending that you would roll back your current deployment of the checkout service, where this issue in particular, it's users not being able to check out, which is a massive problem for a business. So once you have this insight, normally you would try to validate, right? So I'm just going to come down to this map view where you can see the environment that we're looking at is an example of what a modern production environment may look like. Right, so it's microservice space. We have 25 entities. There's one upstream, 27 other downstream. It's deployed into multiple bits of infrastructure with various engineering teams being responsible. And so you would try to figure out, is this the exact service that's causing the problem, or if it's a downstream dependency? And this can take time going through each individual service. And in this case, it could be 25 other teams that you may need to pull in to try to figure out what's going on. And so that's where Transaction 360 is coming in. So I moved over into APM and I'm looking at our brand new Transaction 360 functionality. So for this same checkout service, I'm looking at that place order function that's having a problem. With Transaction 360, it's going to create this dynamic workload that provides you with the view of all of the entities that are responsible for this individual transaction. So taking us down from those 25 entities to 7 entities that are part of this place order transaction. And then the dynamic flow map, I can see it's pulled out of the 7 entities, the 2 that are experiencing problems. So we have errors and latency on our front end and checkout service. And if I were to open, I can see the other 5 of the services that are part of this transaction, but they're not being impacted. And so going a little further, instead of going into APM for the front end and the checkout service to try to figure out what's going on, I can come down and use my participating APM services charts where I can see a stack view of my throughput, my error rate, and my latency with one deployment happening, right? So I can see there's been one deployment that was done by someone on the checkout service. And then there's a spike in our front end, but really it looks like it's going to be the checkout service that's causing this issue. Another thing that I get inside of Transaction 360 is a view of all the participating transactions for this particular group, as well as I can see the supporting infrastructure, if it was an infrastructure problem, or supporting browser entities, right? So I feel pretty confident that there's an issue with the checkout service that's causing a problem, leading to those errors and latency that's impacting both front end and checkout. And so normally I would then go to work with the team and get that rollback done. But the next thing that I want to do is stop this from happening in the future, or try to predict if this issue would happen again. And that's where our brand new predictions come into place. All right, so I moved into a dashboard that my team uses to analyze these services. Basically, it's tracking the performance of our e-commerce systems, so I can see backend metrics, front-end metrics, and business metrics. And so what I want to do with our new predictions is I'm aware that there was a latency issue, so I want to create an alert. Right, so I'm going to just open my action menu, go to create a new alert condition. New Relic is going to write the NERCL query for me that I need to make this possible, so I'm not even going to worry about that. But with this alert, there's one thing that I want to do. I want to make this in a predictive alert. So just by toggling on this predict future behavior, this alert is now not only going to look at real-time performance, but based off of that performance, also predict out into the future, right? So it's going to use 20 windows of historical data to predict out the next 6 windows of data. And so you can control what those windows are. So whether it's seconds, minutes, hours, or days. So I have hours selected. So it's going to use 20 hours to predict the next 6 hours of data. And if the prediction shows that based off of performance, you're going to violate the threshold that's been set on latency, it'll alert me in that moment before the violation happens or before users are impacted, and allowing me to address this in advance. So that's going to be a predictive alert. But also, if I go into my business metrics, I'd want to be able to see those predictions in my charts as well. All right. And so I can see on this revenue prediction that we have this dotted line chart, right? And that's a prediction of based off of system performance and how the way revenue is trending, we can predict future revenue. And with predictions, you can create predictions on any data that's inside of New Relic database. So those are going to be some of the new exciting features that we have for intelligent observability, which is response intelligence, transaction 360, and predictions that's going to ensure you a better business uptime. Looking at more new features, now focused on developer productivity, look at service architecture intelligence, and we're in the brand new Teams Hub page. So within an organization, whether you're a developer that's onboarding to a new team, you're new to the company, or trying to deal with an issue that you have in production, sometimes just understanding your landscape or the services that you own and responsible for can be extremely hard, leaving you digging through a ton of spreadsheets. So now with the Team Hub, I can see everything that my team's responsible for. So our active issues, if we have service levels developed, I'll see those, our workloads, the score for my team, dashboards, our alert policies, my team members, and I can use something like the map view to get a view of all of the entities that my team's responsible for, right? So providing me an easy top level view of all of the services that we're responsible for, other services that they're calling out to, and other teams that we may need to work with. I can also dig into the services if I see there's an issue. So there's a warning on the alpha service. Hovering is going to show me the action menu with the response time, throughput, and error rate. By clicking on it, it's going to pull up some detailed data for me, as well as showing me the infrastructure that this application is deployed into. So I can get details around the region, the VPC subnet, and all the way down to the host. And I can see that this is deployed into a high availability configuration, right? So it's going to make me it's going to make it easy for me to understand everything that my team is responsible for and the services that that are having issues where I may need to focus on. And this is great for a developer, but for a manager or an executive, there's another view that's needed. And that's going to be where our brand new scorecard feature comes in. All right, so now I'm looking at scorecards, which is showing me a high level view of my overall org's performance, which is a great way for managers or executives to understand what's happening with regards to system performance and how it's also impacting their business. So I'm looking at this over the last 7 days, but I could change it out to the next month, 3 months, performance over the last 6 months or a year. I can see that we are pretty good, but there are some areas of concern, right? So we have scorecards for different things that this organization cares about, and we're consuming different types of data in addition to our melt, right? So we've moved into Meltex data. So I can see that we have scorecards for our observability maturity, our configurations, pulling data in around configurations from our cloud providers, customer experience, developer productivity, looking at things like those DORA metrics, our cloud costs, so consuming cost data and seeing how we're performing against the budgets that were set, as well as security and making sure that we have the right amount of visibility into what's going on from a security standpoint. So I can see that we're violating some of our observability metrics, and I may want to reach out and figure out what's going on with the individual team. So I'd be able to click into the specific scorecard. It's going to let me know which areas needs attention. So I can see that we have some room for infra alert coverage. I'd be able to click into this, see which of my entities are experiencing an issue, and go directly to that team that I need to work with to get these alerts kind of set in place to make sure that we are not violating specific thresholds that we'd want to set, taking me back into the Team Hub. Whereas the manager is incredibly valuable because now I know the exact team I need to work with, how to reach out to them, and what their Slack channel looks like. So that's going to be service architecture intelligence. And before I came back into the Team Hub, we looked at scorecards for cost and security and developer or customer experience. So let's look at what's powering some of those experiences. Moving into the new cloud cost intelligence, this is going to allow me to see what's going on with regards to my cloud spend. So managing costs is extremely important in any engineering organization, and leaders are always trying to figure out how to get spend down. So I can come in here and see an overall view of how we're performing by total cost, by the hour, the applications or the services that have the highest variance in cost. I can slice this data. I can slice this data by account or application name. I can look at it by the owning team and see which teams are having the highest amount of costs and work with them to make sure that we're meeting our expectations, right? So I may need to reach out to the KPT team. But the power of cloud cost intelligence is truly us being able to show you real-time costs. Where normally when you're thinking about costs, you're using historical data. It takes about 2 days for you to get your costs from your cloud provider, but we're able to predict out and show you your real-time costs. So let's say if a new service was turned on into production that's now gonna make you violate your budget, we'd be able to alert you to that and allow you to address it in advance. And you can do the same groupings by service name, by specific account, and figure out what's going on with your cost there. Moving into Security RX, which was powering that security dashboard, we're now looking at our new functionality where we're going to show you vulnerabilities, not only in your applications, but also in your infrastructure. And so you can see that this data is coming in from New Relic. It's also coming in from tools that you know and love, like Fossil or Wiz or other security tools that you're working with. And we're just going to call out, hey, you have this vulnerable package, either in your application or in your infrastructure. You can click into the specific vulnerability that we found, where we're going to help you understand the action that needs to be taken. So how severe is the vulnerability? How many entities do you have where they're affected? Details on it. We're going to call out those specific entities. And as well as we're going to give you some steps that allow you to remediate them. So, all right, so we can see that there's a recommendation to upgrade to a version of 6.9 to remove this vulnerability from our infrastructure. So what are some of the unique capabilities that New Relic provides Azure customers? Firstly, we provide easy instrumentation for your Azure services with pre-built dashboards that make it easier to access insights and find issues quickly. Once you have all of your data within New Relic, whether it's application or infrastructure performance data, we can automatically correlate that data in a single UI. We help you proactively find issues before they impact your customers, providing you instant anomaly detection with intelligent alerting. And as mentioned earlier, we're committed to providing industry-leading support for OpenTelemetry and Prometheus. So let's discuss how we make onboarding easy for you. We've partnered closely with Microsoft to provide Azure native solutions, which is built in Azure for Azure so that you can get access and use New Relic the same way you would for any other Azure service. With New Relic's Azure native service, you can get started directly in the Azure portal, and we'll take a quick look at that in a few minutes. All of your data will remain in Azure while still accessing insights in the New Relic platform, and you can get started with over 700 New Relic quick starts. You can also utilize your Azure spend commitment and manage all of your costs on a single Azure bill that includes New Relic. So let's go into Azure and take a look at how easy it is to get started.
As you can see, I'm now in the Azure portal. And if you're like me, you'll have New Relic as one of your favorites. If not, you can search for New Relic in the bar above. So I'm going to click into our New Relic solution. And here you've got two options, either to get started with New Relic. That will take you to the marketplace page where you can learn more and get yourself set up as a New Relic customer, or just go directly and create a New Relic resource. So we're going to do that right now. So I'm going to click into here. You can either link it to an existing New Relic account or go and create a new one. I'm going to create a new one just for the purpose of this demo. So first of all, you are going to set up the basics. So I am going to connect my resource group. And so I'm going to make that a build resource. I'm also going to go and name my resource. So I'm going to name it Demo Gorgon Azure for all of us in Azure. And then we are going to go on to the next step. So the next step, you can really set up and include and exclude the metrics you want to capture. And this helps you basically optimize what resources you pull and pull all the relevant resources you need. You can also add send subscription activity to logs by checking this box. And finally, you can actually go and set up tagging with names and value and tag each of your New Relic resources. Your next step would really be to go and review it and create your resource. Once you've done all of this, your next step will really be going to set up your APM.
Your next step would be to go to apps and service and enable our APM agents. Go to virtual machines or Kubernetes to enable our infrastructure and Kubernetes agent. And you can verify that New Relic is receiving data in the monitored resource tab in the Azure portal. Resources with a green check mark are sending data to New Relic. So we've spoken about how easy it is to get started with Azure native solutions. And once you've connected, you can use our 700 plus quick starts to instrument specific services. Remember, you can find us in the Azure Marketplace and get started for free. With the New Relic free tier, you get 1 free user and up to 100 gigabytes of ingest per month without needing to put in a credit card. Learn more at newrelic.com. And thank you for taking the time to watch our demo.